A podcast helps people learn more about Sioux Falls history. A cathedral organ project offers a look at artwork. And the Board of Regents intends to fire a USD professor after a social media post. And what's the weather going to look like this week? This is Inside the Newsroom, and I'm your host, Maddie Paul. Inside the Newsroom, we bring you the trending stories of the KELOLAND area, and we bring in our newsroom staff members to talk about these stories. So you get an exclusive perspective about the stories that you see every day on our newscasts and KELOLAND.com. I hope you all had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. I was outside pretty much the entire time, even though I may have been sweating pools just by being in the sun, Scott.
Sweating what?
Pools. I could have filled the McKinnon pool.
Pools of sweat? That's disgusting.
Well, it was so hot outside. You can't deny it. You can't. You should know.
It was warm. It was above average. We hit 91 on Saturday afternoon in Sioux Falls.
I was going to say, you should know. You were outside playing as well.
Yeah, I was. I was in Huron playing softball.
And how'd it go?
We lost more than we won. We'll put it that way. Yeah, we won 2, lost 4. We played 4 games on Saturday itself. And here's my tale of woe. We discussed painting the house. Okay, that's a project in itself. On Friday afternoon, I was getting the high stuff. So I'm on the ladder stretching and turning and twisting and just trying to get the high stuff on the house, on the south side, of course, where the sun is, where the beat's on that side. So I think I was done at 6:30, and I'm just tired. I end up falling asleep or going to bed around 9 o'clock. And I told my wife, I go, I'm so excited. I don't have to set an alarm because we didn't have to leave for the softball game. We didn't start till noon in Huron. So, plenty of time. Well, my body wakes me up because I get up early anyway.
Right.
So my body wakes me up around 2 and I'm lying in bed and I'm just, okay, well, I don't have to get up yet. I don't have to get up for a long time. And then I was thinking about the day, and I'm like, wait a minute. I have to work Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I woke up. I'm glad my body woke me up.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to doing the morning show that I was thinking, okay, well, this is what I have to do to get ready for the trip to Huron. We want to get water. We want to get some snacks, so we stay hydrated and have energy during the day because I knew it was going to be a warm day and we're playing softball. And then it came across my mind going, wait a minute. I have to work Saturday morning. I would have been out at the store buying snacks and water. They were like, Munt, call me on the phone. You should be at work. I would have done weather from the store. So,
honestly, that would have been so much fun to see.
Oh, no, that would have been terrible.
Can you imagine?
Oh, it would have been awful.
Why?
I always have dreams like that, too.
The stress dreams that wake you up? The work ones?
It's like I don't have a suit on or I'm getting, putting my tie on. I can't get it to tie right.
You forget how to speak English?
Well, no, not that one.
Oh.
But others, like the hallway from, putting my suit jacket on just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. I can't make it to news time. It's just weird stuff.
But you enjoyed softball at least? You had some fun time playing?
Yeah, and my body's paying the price. I didn't get hurt, but I could feel it in the hamstrings. I can feel it in the hamstrings. Played 4 games on Saturday. Played 2 games on Sunday, which started at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So it was a quick turnaround because we drove back to Sioux Falls and drove back out to Huron on Sunday. But, just continue to chase that fountain of youth.
The fountain of youth.
But I can't catch it. It keeps getting farther and farther away.
What are you talking about?
But I'm having a fun time doing it.
You know what? I could see the tan on you, Scott, from the painting and from just being outside. I feel like that is the fountain of youth delivering.
You think so?
Yeah, giving you that nice little glow.
Yeah, well, right? I'm glowing all right. Places I don't want to be glowing. They're just going round.
Well, hopefully no more stress dreams for you, Scott. Hopefully your body will just
do you have those too?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm a pool of anxiety. You see this?
Do you still have the dreams like college tests?
No.
You didn't study enough for?
No, but I used to do theater when I was young. And so
lights didn't work?
Honestly, it's me forgetting my lines. Those are dreams that I still have. Even though I'm not really a part of theater anymore, I still get dreams like I'm in a show and then I forget my lines and I'm like, those are the worst dreams because then I have to wing it, I have to be professional and it's like, I don't know what I'm saying right now. And then it doesn't fit the story and I'm just like yapping and oh my gosh, this is stressing me out now.
Oh, really?
Okay, this is so off topic now, but one of my dreams, like a big stress dream I used to have, is I would have dreams that the moon would explode.
Why?
Because I was terrified that the moon would explode.
And then it's cheese for everybody.
Cheese. No,
made out
it
of
would
cheese,
be
right?
moon rocks coming at me.
Oh,
I would literally.
see, I would just think it's, here comes a bunch of cheddar, Swiss coming right at you.
I called them my bad moon dreams because I had them frequently. And it would just be me watching the moon explode, and then it would be impending doom. Like, I literally had...
Did you want to be an astronaut as a kid?
No, I don't like space. I'm so terrified of space. So I think that's why I had
you don't like
the moon
Star
dreams.
Wars?
I actually love Star Wars. I'm the biggest anomaly. I don't think you'll ever figure this out.
The moon dreams. Interesting.
Scott, let's get back on topic.
Explode.
Let's get back on topic.
Okay.
It was great.
What do you need?
It was a great weekend for me because I loved having that heat and humidity, even though I was sweating pools. But, we're going to see some more active weather.
Oh, this week? That we will. And we'll cool, too. So you shouldn't be sweating pools.
Okay, good.
Okay.
That was sick of that.
We'll try to bring those temperatures back down to the 70s for highs. That will happen by Wednesday. The clouds will be thicker. We're watching for better chances for rain by the time we do get into midweek. We are looking at scattered storms for today, later this afternoon, western South Dakota. Later in the day tomorrow, south central South Dakota to start. And I wouldn't be surprised if they move into Sioux Falls after dark for tomorrow. And we could have showers, thunderstorms. Marginal risks for severe weather. That's level 1 out of 5. Today in western South Dakota, tomorrow in south central South Dakota. We'll see if those get upgraded at all. They might. But we had our severe weather yesterday and our heavy rainfall, too, in north central South Dakota. That's something I talk about on Whether or Not. Okay, I don't want to give away too much information.
Just maybe a little more tease.
Yeah, but that the Mobridge area from Saturday to Sunday, over 3.5 inches of rain.
Right. They actually closed down their stadium today because of all of the weekend flooding. We have that story on KELOLAND.com, and so they don't really know when that's going to open right now. But they said in a post online that they thank everyone for their patience because with that rain, got to do what you have to do.
And we could see more rainfall amounts of, for the week, over 2 inches possible. South Central and northeastern South Dakota. Not that I want to give away too much.
Okay, yes, whether or not. I did ask. I did
whether
ask.
Or not. It's going to air right after this show.
Okay, well, I'll let you go ahead and get ready for your show, Scott. Thank you for being a part of mine.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be.
And everyone stick around. Up next, let's get to more trending stories in our area. First, the Board of Regents intends to fire a USD professor after a post made about Charlie Kirk. So we're going to look into that timeline and the latest updates when we come back on Inside the Newsroom. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. The South Dakota Board of Regents filed an intent to terminate a University of South Dakota professor following a social media post about Charlie Kirk's death. To give us some more details, our digital reporter Ray Yost joins me here at the digital desk. Because Ray, what kind of social media post are we talking about here? What kind of reaction did it create?
So it was originally on the professor's Facebook page, which had throughout the day or at some point it was eliminated, but it got reaction from Speaker of the House John Hanson and from our governor Larry Roden.
And they were not happy, right?
No, they were not happy. Speaker Hanson had called for his termination or dismissal, and then later the governor said he had heard the Board of Regents intended to fire, and that's his quote, fire the professor, and that made him glad because he was shaking mad, I believe those are the words he used, when he read the post.
And this all happened and was accumulating on Friday, at least those reactions that we were seeing in the newsroom, right? Yeah. So what was that like for you, that timeline, as you're collecting this reaction and then waiting for the Board of Regents statement saying whether or not this post even belonged to Hook or whether or not any action was going to take place? What was that timeline like for you?
Well, you early afternoon or late morning, can't remember exactly the time frame, but I know that we first get information in the morning about the Speaker Hanson's post, and then you start contacting the University of South Dakota to see if they have comment. Then you have to reach out to the Board of Regents at the same time because you're looking to confirm the post or looking to confirm the information. I mean, it's not as if the Speaker of the House or the governor are not truthful. It's just part of your good due diligence is to do those things. And you want some additional information, anything the Board of Regents could do to share light on the possibility that, the person, they intend to fire the professor or terminate the contract. So it was a really somewhat compressed time frame when you're reaching out. Yeah. Then you kind of initially write what you get, and then with the expectation that things could be updated throughout the afternoon, perhaps.
And focusing on the reaction from Hansen and Roden specifically, his own post had included the original post that was from the Professor Hook.
Yeah.
And did you learn why Roden used the entire quote? Because there was an expletive that he had posted from that. What kind of response did you get?
Well, I think the response back from the governor's office was that the post speaks for itself and the why behind the post. He used posted the post. Sorry, I mean he used the post in its full verse or full wording, and the response I got back from the governor's office was exactly that. The post speaks for itself and the why behind it.
Okay. And then have you heard from Professor Hook, or is there any update from that?
Not as of right now. No. Did reach out to a phone number listed with the university. I believe his professor page is not active right now. And I did find what I believe to be a personal email from another area, and have not as of yet received any response from that.
Okay.
So not sure that we will, but we will attempt to try and get a hold of him as well.
Is there anything else that you think viewers should know about this story, Ray?
Well, maybe not specifically this story as much as, we continue to follow this. We're reaching out to some lawyers who might have First Amendment experience. We did a small story on a petition coming from students. And again, the Board of Regents is taking action or plans to take some actions. He's been placed on administrative leave. So we'll be following that or following up on that as well as, when did any other action happen? What's the situation?
Ray, thank you so much for giving us those details. Yeah. And yes, as Ray said, the professor is on administrative leave. In fact, a group of students at the University of South Dakota have even started an online petition to reinstate Hook. The petition argues that the BOR's action is an encroachment of freedom of speech. And the petition had said that many students are distraught after learning about the situation. And as of this morning, there were over 2,000 signatures. As Ray has said, this is a developing story that KELOLAND News will continue to look at as it develops throughout time. But still to come on Inside the Newsroom, we're switching gears a little bit. A new cathedral organ project offers a look at some hidden musical artwork. We're going to find out more after the break. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. A big project is underway at the Cathedral of St. Joseph in Sioux Falls. The church is getting a new pipe organ, but here's a glimpse at some art that you may not have seen before.
It's been in the works for years, getting a new pipe organ at the Cathedral of St. Joseph. Construction of the massive instrument is wrapped up in Canada. The organ is scheduled to arrive in Sioux Falls on September 22nd.
Right now, they're finishing packing it into two 18-wheelers for the trip down to South Dakota.
As people wait for the new organ to be installed, there's something else to admire in the loft of the cathedral. Two sculpted pieces on the wall.
They're very unique. You have St. Cecilia on the left, and then you have King David on the right. Both of them, we would say in our Catholic faith, are the patron saints of music and musicians.
The artwork was covered up for decades by the previous organ, which has now been removed to make way for the new one. While Father James Morgan was aware of the artwork, it's not something the general public has been able to see in years.
The reaction has just been one of astonishment and awe, really. I mean, because nobody knew that they existed, that they were there.
But it's best to take a picture because they won't be available for long. They'll be covered up by the new organ, which is expected to last for centuries.
We're hoping that our children's children way down the road still are enjoying the same instrument.
The cathedral is closed during the week because of construction, but the public can view the artwork on Saturdays and Sundays.
And Kelly Vogt joins us now at the digital desk to talk more about this story. Kelly, that organ, the new one and the old one, is just so beautiful. I can't wait to see it come in. But I'm curious, what first sparked the idea for this story?
Well, I was sitting in church. I go to church at the cathedral, and we were getting ready to wrap up the service, and Father told everyone, look behind you. There's some art on the wall, and if you don't see it now, you won't see it for hundreds of years.
Wow.
And so I just thought that was a really neat story. And also, we've followed this organ for the past few years now, so I thought it also would be worth it just to get an update on when it's going to arrive.
I like how you shape this story because it starts with the old organ, and that's like the focus at the start, but then it moves into the artwork that you could have seen behind the organ. So why did you decide to structure the story in this way?
Well, it's always nice to have different layers in your story if you can. Maybe have a little element of surprise, maybe viewers weren't expecting that part of it. So I just thought it would really be neat to, open up with the nuts and bolts. They're getting a new organ. This is when it comes. But here's a little treat in the meantime.
Yeah. Was there anything that shocked or surprised you as you were putting this story together?
Well, I don't know a lot about organs, so I was really interested to find out that the hope is that this new organ will last hundreds of years. So I think that's pretty cool to think about.
Yeah, looking at the photos that you were able to show of it just being built, it's just this massive, beautiful piece that's coming in. So what is the timeline for when that new organ arrives and how they'll put it in?
Well, it's quite the process.
I bet.
Once it arrives here on 2 semis, it'll take a few weeks for it to be built. And then they have to do what's called voicing. And that is, finishing the inside of the organ, tuning all the pipes. There are about 4,000 pipes. So it's going to take a few months to get it in shape and ready to go. But the interesting thing is you can play it in the meantime.
Oh.
As more and more pipes are tuned, more of the organ becomes available, which is also something I didn't know. So.
Learning more about organs now, Kelly.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Well, do you think, this is a kind of a fun question I wanted to ask, do you think you learned anything from creating this story that you think you'll carry into the next story that you create?
Well, I don't know that I learned anything new, but I think maybe just, reinforcing some things that I've tried to use throughout my time as a journalist, finding different layers, and anytime you can include pictures, that's important. Mm-hmm. This white organ that has been built is, beautiful, and I think it's important to include those pictures.
Yeah, totally agree. Kelly, is there anything else that you'd like viewers to know about this story?
I think we've covered it.
I think we've covered it too. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me here at the Digital Desk. And everyone, stick around. Up next, we're looking at a podcast that helps people learn more about Sioux Falls history. You want to look? Well, stay with us for Inside the Newsroom. We'll give you that look. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Unless you crack open a history book or do extensive research, it can be hard to learn more about your local history. But there's one person educating others right here in Sioux Falls. And our reporter in Acres, Summer Roddershot, got a little look into this person to see what exactly they're doing. But for context, Summer, I want to start off with this. This was an Eye on KELOLAND piece. So what do you think is the difference between an Eye on KELOLAND versus just any story that we see on our newscasts?
Yeah, so the fun thing about an Eye on KELOLAND is you can get, I want to say, like a little bit more like niche. Eyes, like they always ask us, hey, what are your eye ideas this month? And so, you can pick something that maybe you're a little more interested in or you're a little bit more passionate about. So it sort of gives you, and you also have more time to work on it. So you get like a couple of days, like it's not always the day of, you have time to set it up. Whereas a lot of the stuff, because it's news, it needs to be new. So a lot of it's day of, but then like a feature story like this, we can have a couple of days to work on it. And like I said, we get to pitch it. And a lot of the time they want us to do it because they know that we see the vision behind this story and why it can be a little bit longer form than some of the other stuff. So how did you pitch this story, or how did you even learn about this podcast? Yeah, so I guess I'm just on the social medias, and I was looking and I saw the Local Lou podcast pop up. And I'm like, that sounds super interesting because everybody's into podcasts now, you know?
I mean, look at this.
Exactly. Like podcasts are sort of like the hot thing right now. I mean, people are listening to them on their way to and from work. And I always, you know, it's always more special when you're listening to a podcast and it's something that you can relate to, you know, whether that be specific topics, but, you know, okay, if you're around the Sioux Falls area or even just in South Dakota, you know, that history aspect of things that happened in South Dakota is so fascinating to me.
And this podcast is about just the Sioux Falls area and history, right?
So she'll also travel.
Okay.
You know, so if she's up in Watertown, she'll start looking around for things up there. Or if, you know, she's on a road trip anywhere else, you know, she'll like look and see like what different historical things are interesting about that town or what she can find out about that town. But she does a lot of research for these things.
So what's her story? How did this all start?
Yeah, so it's so funny.
Okay.
So she's always been a bit of a history nerd, but it was back when Pokemon Go was a big thing. And, you know, that got so many people out of their houses, out of their apartments, like looking at stuff. And she said that there was one of those signs that you see right now. I can't remember the historical markers. There was one that was right out across from her place. And she'd always wondered what it said. Well, she finally went and read it while she was doing the Pokemon Go stuff. And it was about Jesse James and a pit stop he made in Sioux Falls with his brother, which I didn't even realize Jesse James like came through town.
Yeah, so it was in Sioux Falls.
Exactly. And apparently it was after one of his most famous bank heists or robberies. And he made a pit stop in Sioux Falls. And so she was like, that's so cool. And so then, you know, it sort of motivated her to like, what else have I been missing when I just pass all these historical markers?
Wow, that's a great question to wonder. Like,
Right?
what else have I been missing? You know, since they're also media people, like along with us, was there anything you found yourself relating to as you were creating this story? Like, how do you think that helped you shape the story? Like knowing that they kind of are in the same world that we're in.
So one thing that we always need to do is make sure we have our facts correct. You know, like we're not putting anything out there that we think is incorrect. And most of the time, or all the time, we have to double check things. Like, okay, this person may say that this is true, but you're always double checking from the official source. Well, she says with history, there's a lot of times where people just wrote down something on a marker and it may not always be true. And so she's had to go through and check with like, you know, clerk of courts and like the counties and like all these different things to find these old articles to double check all of this work for history. Because she said, you know, sometimes like it has a wrong date. So she's friends with like a person who works in a graveyard, you know, just like different stuff like that to double check. And I think with the Jesse James one, you know, she saw the historical marker on it. But then, and I believe this is the right one, but then she also went and found a cab driver who wrote an encounter that he had with Jesse James. And it wasn't until after they were gone that he realized that he had ran into Jesse James.
Oh, wow, that's so fascinating.
Right? But she wanted to do that double checking, like, okay, does something check out with this story, which is something you have to do in news.
You're like, we're not there.
Exactly. Like, we can't just take one person's word for it. We need it to be the truth, the fact, double check, make sure it's true. And she has to do the same thing.
Right. Summer, is there anything else that you'd like viewers to know about creating this Eye on KELOLAND story, or just anything in general that you'd like them to know?
I think the one thing about Lori Kent is who runs the Local Loop podcast, but she does a very good job about relating to people of all ages. You know, so you may think, oh, it's just another history lesson. It may be boring, but she uses slang. She tries to relate. Like when I was listening to her film, one of her podcasts, she referenced Shrek. And I think it was the onion part, how the onions have layers. So, you know, she does things like that to help both, you know, entertain like a younger generation, but also the older generation. So really, like, you know, if you're like, oh, she might be too old or too boring or too history for me. No, she makes it young and fun. But at the same time, if you're like, oh, it might be too young and fun, it's still just full of awesome historical facts.
Wow. Sounds like there's something for everyone then.
Yep. Exactly.
Excellent. Summer, thank you so much for joining me to talk about your story. And everyone, I know, let's cry a little bit. It's the end of Inside the Newsroom. We hit our time, but that's okay because it's just the start of the week. Tomorrow, we'll have more Inside the Newsroom. So until next time, have a great day, everyone.